Look at that. Wide body. Interesting. And Scat Pack. Look at that Scat Pack. Look at this thing. Big old wheels. Let's check out that big 6.4 liter. Let's check out that 6.4. Wait, what happened? And we're back with another video, and today we're going to talk about the Demon 170. So I did a video after the Mecum auction where that Demon 170 was auctioned off for $152,500. The one that the soldier had ordered and the dealership in Flowood, Mississippi had sold out from underneath him, and then the car got returned, and then he got an allocation directly from Dodge to go get it from Jay Leno's garage when it comes in. So then the car ended up sitting at the dealership and going to auction, and all the money went to charity. So another video we already did about this, but I took a lot of heat in the comments, and certainly in an Instagram message I'll share just for a taste of the crap that I took for that video, because I'll tell you right now, I triggered the Demon owners and the dealers. So I don't know exactly which of these are, meaning if it's a dealer commenting or sending a message, or if it was an actual Demon owner. But what I can tell you is the Demon owners, the initial Demon buyers, the Demon 170 buyers, are hot. They are mad. They are angry at my videos. They do not like my videos. Now, I'm not doing these videos to barbecue them and screw their values, but the perception apparently is that I'm reporting these numbers and it's hurting the values of these cars. And I'm not reporting correctly, and for that reason, these guys are going to take hits on their car values. Now, that's absurd. That's ridiculous. It's beyond stupid. If I have that much power to kill the values of the Demon 170, then I should have succeeded in killing the values of all the overpriced, marked up cars, which, while I believe we have had some impact on saving people money, there are still way more stupid people than smart people in the world. And as long as there is more stupid people than smart people, even stupid people with lots of money and the ability to overpay, that there will always be dummies that overpay for things in the world. And that's okay. They have the money. They worked hard to get that money. They inherited the money. Whatever the hell. They own Bitcoin and it quadrupled in value. Whatever the hell happened where they had the disposable cash to be able to drop these massive markups, good for them. But there's some issues and some reality of pricing that's going on that we just have to address. But first, let me read this message that this guy sent to me just to get this out in the open. And this is just one of probably many of the comments that happened on the video I did. But this one, I love when somebody calls me a genius, because, you know, I like to think I have some genius qualities, but let's be real, I'm no genius. But he says, "Hey genius," being a smart ass, "if you reported the Demon prices correctly that were currently sold to Mecum auction in Houston, you would have said the average price paid for a Demon 170 on April 6, 2024 was $199,650. So why the dishonest comments? Those buyers are aware that those buyer fees will be added to their bid price, so they will bid 10% below the price they are willing to pay with that understanding." Now, I responded basically giving him this logic. This logic is, if I am a seller of something, then that means that something that I'm selling, most likely I purchased. And I purchased that at a certain price, and then hoped to make a profit on that thing. And if that profit does not yield what I had expected, or throws me into a position of losing money on that thing, then it was not a good investment. With that said, I do believe that even at $152,500 plus the 10% buyer fee and any costs, that would take it to, let's just say, close to $170. So $170, let's say $167 to $170 range that car went for. From the buyer's perspective, we have to acknowledge that the seller's perspective was not $167,000 for that car. The seller's perspective was not even $152,500, because the sellers often have fees as well that they have to pay. So there's a good chance that even though you can inflate the price based on the Mecum auction cost to the buyer and say, well, that buyer would have paid on eBay, you know, 167 or 170 for that car, which is still really low compared to what they were going for, then what about the seller who had some fees? They didn't get to sell the thing for free. They had some fees as well from the auction. So let's say that's another $7,000 to $10,000. So if you take that off, then the reality of it is that car went for, let's say, 140 to 145 to the seller when it comes to net proceeds from selling that car. I'm just telling you, if that seller was me or you, not a dealership, we would be in that car for somewhere around $130,000 most likely. So the dealer most certainly would have made a profit, but they gave all that money to charity. But even the other cars that went for more money still had massive fees piled on them on both ends, to the buyer and the seller. So what is the real price? Well, I think there's a factor we have to figure in when it comes to an auction environment and how an auction environment affects pricing generally. And let's just assume that the Soldiers Demon 170 was tainted by the story and nobody wanted that car because it had such a horrible, horrible story attached to it. One, I don't believe that. Two, I believe there's just as many people out there that thought that story was special, made that car unique, made that car possibly worth more money even, because they get to say that the story behind that car generally could help improve that car value. So if you look at both ends, it goes both ways. You can't say that that story killed the value and not say that there are people out there who would love to say, this is the one, this is the famous car that went viral because of the Soldier. So let's just assume that it was tainted by that price and other cars were coming up for sale, better specs, better colors, whatever the hell it is. It's still $167 with the buyer's costs. It's still a very low price at an environment where people are caught up in the moment of buying a car that is paraded across a beautiful stage and sold with the highest pressure of sales tactics known to mankind, with an auctioneer rattling it off, trying to push the price up. And that auctioneer pushed like hell to push that price to $152.5. That's what it sold for. With that said, with buyer costs and everything else, they added up and they put it up because no auction house wants to be reporting prices that are bad. No one would go auction their cars there anymore. So we can't use any of the auction prices. In reality, we shouldn't use any of those prices to come up with what prices are. But when something goes for really, really low, it does scream out that there's some concern about the values. Now let's go into my personal experience. My personal experience is I'm out every single weekend at every single car meet you could possibly imagine, and I'm meeting so many people with these Demon 170s that have had markups that were $100,000, $125,000, and by the time the car showed up, the dealers came down to $40,000 or $50,000. On the Demon 170 forums, I have right here on my phone, I'll put up on the screen, he was able to get the price down from $125,000 ADM to $50,000 ADM. Now, that's a significant swing, wouldn't you agree? That means that even a dealership with a brand new, unregistered, fresh off the truck car dropped the price from $125,000 to $50,000. Now, that's the epicenter of pricing in real life at a car dealership, where a dealer is willing to say, we don't even believe we can get that 125 anymore. Hell, we don't even believe we can get 100. Hell, we don't even believe we can get 75. Heck, we need cash right now, which is what I shared in another video. We need cash right now. Rather than have this guy walk out, let's go ahead and do the deal for 50. And I still think that dude could have got more money off that price had he walked and played some games. But what I read in these comments and in these posts is many of these Demon 170 buyers are doing everything they can, even if it means them paying more money for the car than they know they need to try and prop up the values of these cars. They are so committed. One guy has his car in a bubble wrap, container, because he's going to sit on it for 10 years. Another guy says, these are garage queens. They're going to sit here forever. These people think these cars are going to go to the moon in value. Several guys keep saying that, don't worry, once they exhaust the existing inventory and all the existing inventory is finally sold, then the prices are going to start going back up and level off around $200,000+. I vehemently disagree, only because right now I think there's 28 of them for sale on eBay, not selling, and they've been there for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the problem is that dealers and flippers and owners who decided they don't want those cars anymore decided, or have decided to put these things up for so much money that they won't exhaust that inventory, that they're going to sit out there, and as one seller decides to cave in and take what they could get before it gets worse, that's going to set new precedents on prices. But Brad, you know, in a couple years, these things are going to go up in value. Well, that's what the guy at the Aaron Dodge dealership told me. He says, Brad, this guy wants to sell this thing for $500,000 in 5 years from now. And I said to him, you know, in the history of cars, I mean, I don't think there's been a car in history ever, especially not a mass-produced 3,000 run, even numbered car, that in 5 years quintupled in value. It's never happened. Let's just say quadrupled in value. It's never happened. Bugatti has not happened. Lamborghini, top of the line, Centenarios, this has not happened. You know, I guess maybe if you're looking at P1s, but not in 5 years. It just doesn't happen. And if you found one, it would be one of the most rarest super or hyper cars you could ever find. But even Koenigsegg's, I mean, they come off the lot at $2 million and they might double in value, and that's a huge win. But these guys are saying they're going to quintuple in value, quadruple in value, which is beyond hilarious. And then I get a message from a gentleman that's invited me to come and be at his delivery of his Demon, because he lost one to a dealership who sold his car out from under him to somebody else. And he wants to do a video about it and talk about it. And if I can get to him this week and do that video, I'll definitely share his story, let him share his story. But he was very frustrated and started searching and searching and searching. And he found dealers with 50,000 over, 40,000 over. And ultimately, because he put the time in, put the legwork in, he found a dealership. And on Wednesday, he's taking delivery of his Dodge Demon in Sublime, great color, great spec car, for $20,000 over. That's a fact. That's the truth. That is happening. This isn't an anomaly. This isn't somebody with connections or a YouTube channel or some kind of, you know, best friends with Tim Kuniskis. No, this is a dealer saying, we're tired of sitting on this thing. We will take the 20,000 over. Then last week, I have a conversation with the GM of a large dealership. And in that conversation, we discover that, you know what, the reality of it is he's got a bunch of Demons. He's got one that he sees as being worth way more money. It's Octane Red. He thinks that one's going to hold its value and be able to get more money because there's so few of them based on the amount of them out there of that color. But he says, if somebody comes in to the dealership with their checkbook, ready, willing, and able to do a deal, that he's not going to disclose what he will take, but depending on the time of the month, time of the year, in the end of the quarter maybe, when you go in there and you are ready, willing, able to buy, if you catch him on an extraordinarily slow month where an extra $30,000 would change his month significantly and keep him from having to, quote, do more layoffs, unquote, he said, he might take that deal. But you got to be in there ready, willing, and able to do it. You can't just call around on the phone and start asking these guys. They're not going to do it. You know how many calls they get? At a certain point, you're just like the 100th person that called up with a fake offer, hoping they'd say yes. They want you to come in, show you're real, roll in the dirt, and do that deal. So that's how that works. But then we've got another problem that I had to share with you all, is, and I'm going to pull this up, is Demons showing up with issues, showing up with problems. Racer X's car, something's wrong with it, and it's in the shop. And I don't know, we'll find out what happened with that car, but it's probably something that should not have happened to such a new car. But now with the deliveries of so many of these cars, these messages, these posts that I'm reading are pretty shocking. So let me pull these up. So here's one that says, this is extensive to only have 75 miles on it. My daily driver doesn't look this bad. This is a picture of a Demon 170's engine compartment where you see tons and tons of corrosion. That's a problem. 75 miles on it. Tons and tons of corrosion. Here's another guy. So it's not just one person. This guy writes, just saw a newly delivered Demon with the rare Brampton salt, corrosion, and filth package that comes with the white glove enclosed trailer delivery. Anyone else order this package? And I'm putting the pictures up on the screen. And it's pretty shocking that a car right out the truck has all this on there. Maybe it's normal. Maybe that happens. Maybe all he's got to do is scrub it off. I don't know. But I'd be pretty shocked, especially if I paid so much money for that car. And then, here's another one. Does anyone else's 170 leave this on the garage floor? And I'll put on the screen here, there's a puddle of oil. That's not normal. Like, that's not normal for a brand new car to be leaking oil. I think everybody would agree. These are posts that are shocking. Here's another one. This guy says, just check the engine oil level with 300 miles on it, and it's way over full. Now, you know that overfilling an engine with oil could be a significant problem and cause engine damage. Not sure I would want to get my Demon delivered to me overfilled with oil and then have an issue. How about this one? Anyone else having issues with their green belt? Only 75 miles on it, and this section is splitting. After nearly 2 years of owning a red eye, I didn't have this type of wear. Some people say it's normal, but I just don't see how this could be. These slits are all the way through. And as you can see, this is his Demon 170 belt with like 5 or 6 deep all the way through slits on his belt. That's not normal. That's not supposed to happen, especially when you pay that kind of money for a car. So I hope all of this makes sense. My reasoning for beating up on the Demon prices is not to hurt you, not to hurt those people who bought a car already and way overpaid. It's not necessarily out to, like, you know, pummel the dealerships. It's just to deal with reality that this car is not worth $200,000. If you watch my channel, you know I own a Lamborghini Huracan, 2015 Lamborghini Huracan. One of the last naturally aspirated supercars. Everything's going hybrid now. And for many reasons, the low production numbers on this car, the low production numbers with that spec, with the carbon ceramic brakes and all the expensive crap. I mean, I got so much forged carbon fiber in the engine compartment, it's probably enough to buy another car. That's how much that stuff costs. And that car is not going up in value. And in 10 years, it's worth less than it was brand new. And it's a pretty special car and pretty insane car to drive. 0 to 60 in 2.5 to 2.6 seconds. It's a freaking rocket ship. All-wheel drive, insane. But it's not going up in value. So the thought that these things are going to suddenly just be massive investments, my only advice to all of you is grind the price down. Know that they're not going back up for a very long time. And the guy with this car in this hermetically sealed little tent, little bubble, it's a shame. Drive the car. But it's your car. You can do anything you want with it. But it's hilarious to see when you could go buy so many other cars for 200 grand that likely have a much better chance of going up in value. How about a 1969 Charger, 1970 Charger? How about a 1969 Camaro? How about one of those restored that's already gone up in value that likely will never ever go down in value ever again? Hell, my 1964 Cadillac I bought for $22,000, sold for $27,000. I mean, if you buy something that's already bottomed out in value and rebounded in value, you're likely sitting on a gold mine. So why wouldn't you just go buy one of those for $125,000 and let it sit until that's worth more money? Because that has a better chance of going up in value than one of these new cars that frankly are falling apart the second they show up. Another guy wrote on this forum, his alcohol injected writing is going away. It's fading out. They didn't put the grooves in the lettering deep enough. That's a problem. Another one had the windshield wiper fluid delivery tubes all dangling down in the hood. They weren't mounted properly. These are all issues that don't lend themselves to a car significantly improving in value. And I'm sharing this, again, to save you money. If you're out there looking to buy, follow what I told you about this other guy did to get $20,000 markup. That's a great deal. That's a fair deal. Do I think they're going to go for sticker? Absolutely not. They're not going for sticker. There's always going to be markups on these things, but to go for $20,000 over screams it out. To have almost 30 of them on eBay not selling and all kinds of random prices sitting there, buy it now, $169,000, $159,000, they're not selling. Just be smart. In my opinion, it's a $150,000 car. And in my other opinion, they shouldn't be showing up with damage. Just seems that way. Another dealership told me that they had a Demon show up and it had body damage on it. And they were trying to scramble to fix that body damage before they sold that car, before the buyer actually came in to buy that car. So the fact the buyer was delaying, and of course probably because of money, delaying gave them time Well, they're scrambling trying to fix it. But if the guy showed up and the car wasn't there, they were going to have to admit it. So these are all issues that are taking place. So with that, sorry for the long video, but I want to be real clear that I'm just sharing what's happening out there, the reality of what's happening. If somebody really wants a Demon for 25 or 35 over, let me know. I'll meet you at a dealership and we'll go in there and I'll grind the you-know-what out of these people to help you get that price, because I'm confident it can happen. So with that, please like, subscribe, comment, share this video, and I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Bye-bye.